Hey guys, 91 Extreme RT here with a quick video on macros on whether they are good or bad. I'm going to start off first by saying that they are good, and I'm going to explain the reasons why. And for all of you people that don't like them, maybe I can change your viewpoint on this by putting a little bit of logic into the argument for you. Now, to start off with, macros are functions in games like, say, Rift, World of Warcraft, pretty much almost any MMO, where you can link multiple abilities into a macro. Now, if you're wondering how to make macros or what macros are in more depth, just search my channel for my videos and just search macro guide, and I do have a Rift macro guide video up. And it's not just for Rift, it works for pretty much any MMO. So check that video out if you're curious on how macros actually work. Now, to get into the main meat of the discussion here, I love macros because a lot of people think, and the misconception is that the more difficult that you can make your rotation and the more buttons you have to use, the better you think it is. Just because you think you have to use more, more things makes it better, and that couldn't be further from the truth than what the real world situation is. When you're sitting here, like I got my PvP gear on right now, so my damage won't be that high. But if you're sitting right here and you're just doing DPS and whatnot, your single target DPS isn't going to mean much on a target dummy like this when you don't have to move or pay attention to mechanics or do anything like that. So if you're just attacking stuff on the dummy right here and you're getting high DPS with a 40 button rotation, good for you. But what if you get stunned in PvP and you miss ability timers and your rotation gets screwed up? What if in PvP where you have to move out of AoEs and silences and stuff and your rotation gets screwed up? What about in raids where the same thing happens? It's going to be a very hard indication on a target dummy where you don't have to do any mechanics to how good the spec actually is. Now, when I build my builds for Rift, for all the classes, you notice, for those of you people that follow my Rift content, that I always make the macros with the most abilities in them that I can to do the most DPS with as few buttons as possible. Some of my specs, like my Sabertooth spec, you can get away with using one button for the entire rotation. Specs like this Nightblade Assassin build, I can do my single target spam macro and my single target finisher, AoE spam and AoE finisher. So 4 buttons total really, but I only use 2 of them 95% of the time. So on a 2-button build, I completely demolish in Raid for DPS with this spec, and I completely annihilate in PvP with this spec. And as you people seen, for those of you that are subscribed to my channel and watch my Rift PvP videos, especially my last couple of Carnage PvP videos with this Nightblade spec, I can run through an entire team single-handedly and kill their entire team by myself. Like that one match, I can't remember if it was the Codex match or if it was the Carthon Ridge match. I think it was the Carthon Ridge one where I killed like 9 or 10 people within a minute and a half. And that's because I use macros. And why I say that is because when you use macros, you're making your rotation simpler. And the simpler you can make your rotation and the less attention that you have to spend looking at your ability bars, the more you can pay attention to raid mechanics and PvP mechanics. So a target dummy is a good indicator of about how much damage you do, but sitting here not having to dodge anything or not having to run out of AoEs or silences or worry about stuns, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. So let's say you do 20,000 DPS on a target dummy, will that translate into raid DPS? Will that translate into PvP effective ability? Let's make up a word there. And 99% of the time it doesn't, because all these people with all these very complex and 15-20 button rotations might do good on the DPS dummy, but will do crap in raid or they might do good in raid until they have to move, or until they're dead because they're spending so much time looking at their ability bars they can't pay attention to what's going on around them. So the easier you can make your ability rotation, the better and more effective your spec will be. And if you watch any of my rating videos or PvP videos, like I've mentioned before, you will notice that I completely demolish everything. because I don't have to look at my ability bars all day. I don't have to pay attention to timers at all. I don't have to worry about what ability to use next. I spam this button until I get enough combo points right here, and once I kind of peripherally see that I have 5 combo points, I hit my finisher macro, and that's all there is to it. I don't have to look at my ability bars at all, except for maybe one cooldown, like my Twilight Transcendence right here. That I'll have to look at, you know, in PvP. But when it comes to raiding, I don't care about that, because I can pay attention where not to not stand in the fire, you know, so to speak, in raiding. And if you see my Regulos video, my Regulos kill video from 9 months ago, that video that I did was the first time that I was ever on the Regulos fight. And if you watch the video, you'll see that that was the first time I've killed that boss. And the first time I ever fought that boss, I did that entire fight without even looking at a strategy for it, just kind of listening to what the raid leaders were saying on how to do the fight. I didn't die, and I got the no deaths, no players dying in the entire fight achievement for killing him. And I was able to do that because I didn't have to pay attention to ability timers. I didn't have to stare at my ability timers all day. I could pay attention to the mechanics around me, and it just becomes that much more effective. And if that isn't a, I guess, good example of why macros are good and how they are helpful, then I don't know what is. Because, you know, I would say about 90% of the guilds in Rift have not killed Regulos yet. And I did it 9 months ago, my first time there, without dying. And it was actually with this same exact spec that I'm using right now for PvP. So to sum up, obviously you know my viewpoint on macros. I love them, and they make the game better. When you can pay more attention to the graphics and the gameplay and all the cool stuff going on around you, the game becomes a lot more enjoyable. It's a better gameplay experience, because I can't justify spending money for a subscription on a game like World of Warcraft, or back when Rift had a subscription, or spending time on a game in general like this, like an MMO where it's all open world. I can't justify spending time playing it if I'm going to be focusing entirely at the center bottom of my screen watching ability timers. I really can't justify that. And for those of you people that, you know, love using your 15 ability rotations and you like that, fine. But I can guarantee you, if you use one of my specs that's a simple rotation, and you play it for a while, you will see exactly how effective it is and how much more fun the game is by not having to pay attention to all that extra crap. So if you want to actually enjoy the content, make yourself a simple spec. Make it a 1 or 2 button, you know, maybe 3 button, you know, macro setup, and, you know, just spam the buttons back and forth without even really having to pay attention to your abilities. Because, in my opinion, the quality of a game is based on its content, not whether it allows macros or not, or how stupid you can make the rotation. You know, it should be based strictly on graphics, content, playability, stuff like that, replayability, and other things of that nature. Things that actually make a game good, not, you know, how many abilities you're able to stick on a macro in the game, or if the game allows macros, and, you know, stuff like that. So a game should never be based, its quality should never be based on something like that. It's completely stupid. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up on my viewpoint about macros and whether they're good or bad, and I definitely love them. I've played specs, just to clarify, I've played my Warden raid heal spec for Cleric and Rift here the first 1.5 years at Rift. It was actually my main before I did my Rogue and before I started doing YouTube videos. And that I had over 15-20 abilities on my bars that I had to rotate through that I didn't have macros for, that didn't have cooldowns, that you had to use separately. And so I'm able to easily play specs like that. But the thing is that I find the game a hell of a lot more enjoyable if I'm able to macro everything and make the rotation simpler and make the gameplay experience that much more better, because I don't have to pay attention to that stuff. So, people in Guild here, anyone getting on Teamspeak? I'll get on Teamspeak in a minute here. So yeah, for those of you people that still don't think that macros are good, or you think that, you know, you think the opposite of what I think, then, you know, that's your opinion. You're entitled 100% to your opinion. But I would advise making a spec like mine and using macros and trying them once. I guarantee you, you're going to like it a hell of a lot more not having to pay attention to all that stuff. versus what you're doing now with your, you know, complex rotations with a million buttons. So I am going to go enjoy some PvP right now, get on Teamspeak, talk to my guildmates. For those of you that are new subscribers to my channel and play Rift, feel free to go to the guild finder, which I believe is in social. Yep, you can click on the social button right here, go to guild finder, or hit shift, hold shift and hit G, and just type in Royal Assassin in here like this. Royal Assassin, and then Royal Assassins is my guild, and you can send message for an invite, and someone will invite you, usually instantly. So, for those of you that haven't joined my guild yet, or want to put an alt in my guild, feel free to send an invite, and you'll get one. So, currently we are working on the last guild quest for the week. We are, right now, we're a new guild, but we're almost level 7, so, got all the PvP buffs, or perks so far. So we're doing pretty good. So, but I'm gonna go do some PvP, some conquest, might do some raiding tonight actually, and yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little video. Feel free to leave a comment below of what you think, of whether you agree with what I say or not. If you don't agree, that's 100% fine. But you know, I'm not gonna take your opinion too seriously, because it's only logical to make your rotation simpler. For a real world situation for raiding and PvP, because the easier you make it on yourself to play your class in general, or play your spec in general, the better you're going to be at doing whatever you're doing, whether it's PvP or raiding. So, alright, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you later.